Hey guys, it's DC, and welcome to the Soap Sanctuary where all soap lovers are welcome, guys. This is my Bold and the Beautiful review. Taylor's got a lot of time on her hands. I'm doing a quick impromptu review. I'm watching it, I'm taking a little bit of a study break, so I was watching B&B. This is my whole thing. I feel like Taylor's got a whole lot of time on her hands personally. She doesn't have a man. It doesn't seem like she's really seeing clients anymore. She's got a lot to kind of like keep her occupied in a sense. And you know, Hope is right that Thomas is the man that's looking out for her, but I also feel like Hope is settling because she wasn't really trying to see Thomas all this time. But here's the thing. Thomas kissed her, she kissed him back, and then of course Liam wasn't taking her back. So if Liam's not taking her back by default, she's like, well, I'm gonna go ahead and go off with Thomas. It makes the most sense. But Thomas, I don't think it's ultimately the man that she wants. It's kind of like when Brooke was with Eric or Nick Maroney or all those people. At the end of the day, she always wanted Ridge. So when Taylor says to Brooke, your daughter is becoming like pretty much a mini me you, yeah, that's kind of true in a sense, you know? But Taylor's got too much time in her hands. This is the thing with with what I admire about Taylor when I first started watching B&B is that she knew how to live life without Ridge. This is something that Brooke never had the capacity to do. Even when she was in another relationship, it always sent her back to her, finding her way back to Ridge. And they brought up Bridge finally, so you know they're listening. They're listening on Twitter and social media. The writers are listening at this point. But I feel like Taylor has too much time in her hands. When too much time in their hands, that's how they get caught up in situations. That's how they usually end up in relationships they don't need to be in. That's how that type of stuff happens. You got too much time in your hands. I'm telling you. That's why they say, what is it? Idle time is a devil's playground, because you end up in situations you don't need to be in. You know what I'm saying? You end up in situations you don't need to be in. Brooke always has time in her hands, or she makes the time at least. So that happens. That happens for Brooke in that sense. Transitioning really quickly to Sheila and Deacon. The whole time when Deacon's like, "Oh, Sheila, we have a future. We have this. We have that," it's like he's having to convince her that they're right for each other, and she's coming with all these doubts, which makes sense. I think it's normal, but Deacon has been trying to convince Sheila for the longest time that he's the right man for her, even when she was with Bill or trying to get with Bill. And she passed off Deacon for Bill, thinking Bill was the better buy. Because listen, she likes a man in power. Eric Forster, Dr. Scott Granger. She likes a man in power. Deacon is not that man, right? And so I think what's happening now with Sheila is I feel like she's about to settle for Deacon. Because it's like, okay, well, why not? You know, you're showing me love and attention. But this is not really the man that you really want, right? Because you had a chance of him being the forward, but you passed on him for Bill Spencer. What does that tell you about Sheila? She likes a man in power. She likes a powerful man. Just ask. Just ask Lauren Fenmore, okay, on The Young and the Restless. She likes a man in power, not Scott Granger, anyone. So, for me, I personally feel like Deacon deserves better, honestly. Yes, those two actually would be a good fit, but he has to convince Sheila to want him. And I mean, maybe he's not the head of Spencer Publications or Forster Creations, but he does have his own restaurant. He is an established man, you know? But Sheila likes a different type of man. Even someone like Sheila, she's got her own standards. Yes, even somebody like Sheila, she's got standards. Because, I mean, when you get rejected by a woman like Sheila Carter, you got to ask yourself what's going on in life. You know what I'm saying? You got to talk to yourself for a little bit and find out what's going on in this life. When you get rejected by a woman like Sheila Carter, I'm like, come on, Sheila. Sheila Carter out of everybody? So my whole thing is that at this point, I do feel that Deacon deserves better. I don't. Sheila will be with Deacon, and I feel like Sheila will be the one that mess it up. I see that coming from a mile away. And like I said, with Taylor needs to be able to find a hobby. I would see. Here's the thing with soaps: characters don't always need to be in something romantic. for them to have a storyline. We could have something else going on, and that could work too. It doesn't always have to be something romantic all the time. But for B&B, it seems like the writers don't know any other way to put these people in storylines but something romantic. And I guess that's what B&B is all about. That's like their whole thing. It's kind of like a Y&R. It's like every character has to be in a business type of storyline, always. It's like they never can go without that. And I guess that's because what Y&R is. It's known to be it has a business theme to it. It's always pretty much had that. Well, not from its inception, but down the line, that's what they developed it as. It's kind of like with All My Children, how, if you notice, if you watch All My Children, they never had like a secret agent storyline or anything that was over the top convoluted. They had a lot of convoluted storylines with like Truth Serum and like someone gave birth to a kid back 18 years ago and didn't remember it. They'll have those kind of storylines, but it was never secret agent or stuff like that, which is something B&B doesn't do either. But that was the thing though too, is like, that was what All My Children was known for. It was their paternity storylines. That was the thing, and literally it rang true to their name, All My Children, paternity storylines, rang well. Whereas One Life to Live and GH had those things, which I think that's part of the reason why GH was kept on the air. And then One Life to Live, their whole thing was diversity, right? And of course, obviously, they did have those secret agent storylines and stuff like that, but not as heavy as GH did, right? And also, Albert stopped watching. That's why it got canceled as well. But the point of the matter is that, you know, in terms of what B&B is, that's always been their style. That's why they'll never do gunshots, they'll never do stuff like that. But I just feel like you can write a story with a character not necessarily needing to be in a romantic situation at all times. That's not always necessary. You know, it's kind of like when Taylor was helping Nick uncover the past, that his mother used to be a prostitute, and she was his therapist in session, which is highly inappropriate, but she was helping uncover that past. Well, granted, she fell in love with Nick in the process, so that's another story. But like, I get the romantic element, but it gave Taylor another role of what she was doing. Yes, it was romantic. It's soap. This is how it works, but it gave another element to it, I would say. But anyways, guys, that's my quick review for the B&B, The Bold and the Beautiful, or we could call it The Bald and the Beautiful. I was already thinking of doing a skit and calling it The Bald and the Beautiful on here just to have fun. But anyways, guys, that's my B&B review. I will see you guys on the next one. I'm out. This has been Soap Sanctuary.